Hello, everyone. I am Holly. I'm founder of What the Stars Say. I usually create a weekly forecast and share it on whatthestarsay.com and on Facebook and Instagram and everything. Um, but I've pulled back this week, and part of it is because I don't know what to say, and the other part is because I have so much to say. Um, like everyone, we've all been processing the unfolding of events over the past, few weeks on a personal level and a collective level. And I want to talk today about the collective part and the personal part of the celestial energy that's coming at us right now. I always do a quick explanation. If you ask someone what is astronomy, they would say it studies the planets. That's kind of correct. It's the study of all matter. They're not just looking at the planets, they're looking at the luminary, they're looking at the asteroids, they're looking at the star systems and everything. So, astronomy is what is that? What is the matter? The study of the matter. And astrology is why that matter matters. And since the earliest civilization, they were studied jointly, and it was here's what's happening and here's what matters. So when we talk about astrology in this highly collective way, and we're talking about these different events and how they're unfolding here on Earth, as above, so below, what we're doing is we're looking at historical data of what has happened in past times. And right now, it is so unique. We are all experiencing this feeling of unease because we've never been through anything like this before. And we're all in this together on a global level. It's so unique. And what's happening, in the sky is so unique at the same time. When Saturn conjuncted Pluto on January 12th, 2020, that was a conjunction, an aspect, a change, and why that matter matters and how those two connected together that we haven't experienced in 500 years. I gave a talk about the January energy, the monthly, astrology forecast, and I titled that talk, Welcome to the Shit Show. Astrologers have been talking about the Saturn and Pluto conjunction for years. It's the most important astrological event of the astrological year, 2019-2020. It's off a different calendar than the sun calendar. So how we saw it is that year, that lunar year, ended with a bang, and that was the Saturn and Pluto conjunction. Okay, so it didn't just happen that day. Oh, I don't remember anything happening on January 12th. It happened that day, but its repercussions, that energy trickles out over 2 years. So about 10 days after that, we had the big announcement with China. And I'm not going to get into the whole "we told you so" part of it because that is so incredibly tacky, and how we actually think is in a more non-linear sense. So when I'm doing a transit reading for a client and I'm saying, here's what's coming your way over the next 18 months, first of all, that client always has free will. We always have that. It's not like psychic prediction, like there's nothing you can do about it. You have free will. That's your best gift as a human. You always have free will. You can change how things are going. And collectively, we can change how things are going. We have a role to play in this. And the energy we bring to the table is so important right now. I've been asking people for a long time just to question what the universe has been asking us is, do you choose chaos or do you choose love? And that question has really been brought home over the past few weeks. So in the January talk, the Welcome to the Shit Show, and the discussion over the Saturn and Pluto conjunction that happened and how that would play out over the next 2 years, I shared historical data. Yes, this hasn't happened in Capricorn specifically, but it happens every 35 years in different areas. And what made it unique was where it occurred at. The actual occurrence is every 35 years. So when I presented the data, here's the pattern astrologically. On these 35-year marks, when Saturn and Pluto conjunct, here's what's happened, here's been the themes, here have been the major players. At that time, I said, keep a close eye on the U.S. and China. Not just the whole U.S., but even D.C. specifically, because it was hitting on those lines. Here we are, and we are really looking at the U.S. and China. And what the Saturn and Pluto conjunction is about is it's really about a karmic reckoning. Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma, and what happens with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn is about control, top-down authority, status, reputation, the stability of things. And Saturn's looking at systems and structure, so anything that did not have a sturdy and true foundation was at risk of crumbling. That was one of the themes of it. I said, keep an eye on US, keep an eye on China. And then also, there were these themes that played out of patterns and situations. And there's a lot of positives right here. Because what had played out is, first of all, you can look in financial news. And I mean, there's so many financial analysis that might be going into the "we told you so" analogy right now, which is tacky. But they did. It's a fact. But we're here. It doesn't change things. We're here in the now, So we have to figure this out. But it helps to detach and know that this is a story that's just been playing out. And none of this, in actuality, is that unexpected. We've got this, okay? So what happened with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction is you're going into themes. When this has happened in the past, it's when the IMF was created, the World Bank was created, the Federal Reserve was created. The financial market said it's something's happening, and astrology was saying something's happening here economically, and it's going to be bigger than the Greater Depression, and it's going to be have more like global implications. It's not just one area; it trickles throughout. So that was happening, and then you also have just really amazing technology advances. If you look at the dates of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, it says this is the foundation of the World Wide Web. This is the creation of Microsoft Word. It happened either close to it, right after. It's always within like a 2-year period. So even though it's a long cycle, it's those first 2 years where it really rolls out. So how January came in and what that shit show is that I described it as there was a party in Capricorn. All these planets were there, and it's like Saturn and Pluto like dropped a C4 bomb explosive in the party, the New Year's Eve party, and then they walked out the door, and we're all left to deal with the aftermath of that. And that's how I kind of did this analogy. It's just like, oh, have fun with that, and here we are. And it really set off about like 10 days, but it was already unfolding at that time. It was already unfolding. It does have connections to the Spanish flu, to the Black Plague, but it's also a time when you have amazing health innovations. So as many problems as we might have, there's also this energy that creates really cool inventions. Like this is like, the 17-year-old that came out with the data platform to track all of this. This is the people using 3D printers to create ventilators and supply that need. That's the innovation. So that is like the ace that we've got to play. We've got this great energy that can help us get over that. As we deal with these struggles, you'll find innovation. We also have Chiron and Aries, which is really a strong focus on personal healing, pioneering, and health. So we've got great things to balance this out. But this came in. So in some ways, we all feel like we don't know the full story. We don't really know what's going on. And that's where I'd really like to dive in, because the number one question people have asked me as I kind of just held back and stayed quiet, and they reached out and said, Holly, what the hell is happening? So I want to go into what the hell is happening as best as I can and explain. This is about like Capricorn is like lining the dominoes up, and they all trickle out and they all play out. And so we're there now. We're in the mix, and I'm not going backwards to say I told you so. I'm going backwards to let you know how we got here and how we can best navigate this, and to really give you some positive news about other energies at play and how we can, detach from some of these global issues that are being played out and really take advantage of this time on a personal level and make it work out. I got into sharing astrology with others because I wanted to let people know, like, it's okay. In moon astrology, I tell people, you're not crazy, the moon is. And it's a wave you have to ride out. These are passing waves. So I always look at it as my, job is to help people best surf those waves that come at us every day. There's one on a collective level, which is our collective, placements and aspects and transits. But there's also a personal one. It's juxtaposed against that. It's a lot coming at us. But through that and through astrology, I hope people realize like what amazing cosmic beings you are. You're so incredible and so complex, and you're so connected to everything around you, whether you realize it or not. And whether you believe in astrology or not, the energies are still going to play out. This cosmos does not need your consent. So if you'd like to listen to how this is playing out and how it can personally work out in a real cool way for you, like stay tuned. I'm going to break it down. And I even brought a visual aid. So here we go. I like my little whiteboards. So let's go into this really quick here. I'm going to get comfy here. I like to just show, where everybody's hanging out at. I'm going to fix this light really quick so we don't have this. I hope you all can hear the frogs and the birds chirping outside. One thing I've been doing as we go through all this chaos and everything is just stepping outside. I'm definitely practicing social distancing out here in Osage County, and I have heard, the frogs so loud at night, and so many birds, and just so much is going on. And you can stand out there. I like to stand out there and kind of like ground myself for the day and just be calm for a minute, and just nature's going by, business as usual. And that's such a wonderful sign. So as you struggle and you go through things, I definitely encourage you to still get out and get fresh air and just stand outside and remind yourself, like, it's okay. It's okay. As we, practice shelter in place and social distancing, nature's taking care of itself. The birds are singing, activating spring. I've seen bees out taking care of business, finding those pollinating flowers. Everything's still going on. It's going forward. So that is such a positive message we have from nature and here on Earth. Out in our galaxy, we have some cool stories playing out as well too. So let's detach for a while. Let's use some fun analogies with astrology and just kind of go, what's going on? Like the Tom Waits song, what is he building in there? What's the bigger story? So let's kind of have some fun with this. So what I've shown here is, this is, this is the half the pie of the sky. And we start down here with Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn. And what's cool is all the actions on this side. I don't have Mars in here. I actually needed to verify something about Mars. There's a question mark. We'll solve this one together. I do have great information about Mars, though. Like I said, there's so much I want to say about this. So I did the picture to hopefully just keep us on track here and look what's happening. But the great news, the cool news is when you have all the action on this side, it actually strengthens our powers to manifest and to bring things forward, what we need, our resources. So that is a wonderful, positive energy we have available to us at this time, especially if you have Aries Sun or Aries Rising. The other beautiful news is people with fixed signs, especially Capricorns who have been really struggling for a while. We're all going to get a break. As fixed signs, we'll get a break. This is your Sun and Rising, so a lot of us will feel this break. It's like a 3-month reprieve. And this is going to happen this weekend when Saturn moves from Capricorn into Aquarius. Saturn's moving down. So if we could go back and we could look at the energies that have built up since the beginning of this year. Oh, you all, I'm so sorry about the light there. There we go. I think that's our best bet. This corner's unimportant, so that works out really well. Okay, so let's go into some analogies here. I love the analogies. I think they help it stick easier and give us it. So with astrology, I'm going to talk about the planets and the houses and the signs, almost as if they're people, right? And it's a silly way, but I found in teaching astrology, it helps you with that, to have that analogy. So there's been a party going on in Capricorn for a while. And let's describe this as the least fun party ever, okay? If you look at the Capricorn energy, well, to really go back, let's go back real back. The Christmas eclipse, that triggered it. I'm not going to go too much into that because that's going to get deep. I'm going to stay real basic for everybody here. There was a Christmas eclipse, it triggered it. Then there was the Cancer and Capricorn nodes and the eclipses. This is big energy. This isn't to be taken lightly. So we have this build-up going into January 2020 when the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happened, okay? So as we go into this year, 2020, we have the least fun party ever happening in Capricorn. So I'm saying it's a party. In astrology, if like 3 or more planets are hanging out in that same sign, that same area, it's a stellium. But I like to call a stellium a party just because, makes more sense. So how I described it to my students in January was we needed to really pay attention to what was happening when Jupiter entered into Capricorn. So here's Jupiter right here. So I asked him to look at Jupiter as this very idealistic, like, trust fund kid, okay? And instead of just going out and partying in Ibiza or something like that, or whatever, this Jupiter trust fund kid really wanted to make the world a better place and bring change to the place and had high ideas. But it wasn't really fully thought out, feasible. So Jupiter gets called home to Capricorn. So let's kind of like look at Capricorn, Saturn intertwined and to pick up the themes there, okay? And what we have here, I'm going to skip ahead my notes because I don't want to get any of this. So Jupiter gets called home. It's like it's being grounded at Dad's house, right? And Capricorn is basically like, Jupiter, you're cut off. The trust fund's gone, no money, and you need to just come up with like a business plan. You got to grow up, make things work. So with this Capricorn, we have to look at this as Capricorn's the authoritative father. All work, no play. I build, I work. It's all about status, no substance, reputation first and foremost. And they always have a plan. They're always looking at the long game. You know what I mean? So Jupiter's no, idealistic and all this stuff. And I want to expand. I want to give. I want to grow. I want to learn. It's very Jupiter. Jupiter comes home and is just shut down. And Jupiter wants to expand everything that's around. And so even though Jupiter's like in the father's controlling house and everything like that, it's still expanding the energy of Pluto and Saturn. So Jupiter expands, Pluto destroys, and Saturn is dealing with karma and the breakdown of ineffective systems. It's top-down authority, it's the chickens coming home to roost and everything, this like karmic reckoning that we're experiencing. And who's experiencing that the hardest right now? China, which if you look at the governments throughout, the world, China is the epitome of top-down authority. So it's all coming down here. So Jupiter wants to, expand and learn and grow and everything like that. Settle down, son. Get back to Earth and everything. Meanwhile, Jupiter is transmitting this energy. So Pluto wants to destroy everything that's around. Then you have Saturn. This is a mess of a party is what this is, okay? So it's like you're all sitting, it's like that awkward family dinner, where you all get together for the holidays and you have nothing in common and you can't stand each other and there's all these like hidden motives and everything like that. It's like that kind of party. So, and then there's no booze at it at all. Like there's nothing. It's that kind of party and awkward silences. You can hear the fork clink on the plate. So that's where we were at the beginning of the year. So when Saturn and Pluto hit that and all these, things start sparking off here and everything like that, these issues are really coming to play. And what we have here is an environmental blowback in the sense that companies, the karmic reckoning for companies that put profits before people and the environment, they're getting the karmic blowback. That's part of like the environmental blowback because look at what's happening now. Like there's so much, everything's shut down, so there's so much less pollution and everyone's noticing, there are more animals out and they're doing great and the air is clear and everything. So there's this weird benefit, of the environment from what is happening with this global pandemic. Then you have a narcissism blowback, okay? I'm not going to mince words on this. I am just waiting for one of the Kardashians to post one of their completely insensitive and narcissistic posts or something. I'm looking at like Kylie or Kendall because they always seem to have that bad fortune of being the one that is just completely not aligned with the times. This is not a time for your selfies. This is not it. And if we want to be real about it, how many celebrities are upset right now that we don't care about their content? We do not care. We have much bigger issues to examine right now. So that's the narcissism blowback, okay? That's another part of it. And then there's the karmic blowback, and that karmic blowback is related to that top-down authority, those governments, those control issues, and everything like that. And although the political is personal, the personal is political, but that's a battlefield that's playing out that we have to just like kind of separate ourselves from, okay? And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. So with this crazy party and everything like that, what we end up having is this 35-year cycle triggered and 500 years since this has happened in Capricorn, okay? Going back to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And what this really showed was that there would be a mark, life before 2020 and then life after 2020, that it would be that big, that impactful and everything. So it unfolds over the next 2 years. There was health innovation that was marked, but there was also the health crisis that was marked. There was tech innovations that was marked, but there's also going to be some karmic blowback in the tech industry. We're going to see that as we go into spring. The personal charts of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg show that there'll be some issues that come out there. They'll be dealing with some stuff. And then we also have a few things, because nothing's happening at once. It would be great if there's just like one singular event. Like we just had to deal with the moon, and it never works out like that. So as this happened, what I want to point out here, we had Neptune and Pisces happening. This is something where a lot of times diseases have been spread through water, and water is involved. If you look at what we're dealing now with the coronavirus, it's filling people's lungs. It says you almost have like a drowning feeling. So that's unfortunately something that has been marked and tracked throughout times with astrology and found to be a sign of the times. And then with Neptune and Pisces, what you also have there is you have the implications of a pandemic as well, and then the implications that illusions and deceit is involved. At the same time as all of that, we went into this Mercury in retrograde in Pisces. And if you could imagine a worst case scenario for Mercury retrograde in Pisces, it would be a global pandemic, because Mercury is the messenger planet and Pisces is this like subconscious level. So we were in this huge fog, and it's a time that's so like ripe for miscommunication, misinformation. And if you track the cycle of it all, it was just horrible timing. It was confusing. Things would come out and then they would be corrected, and misinformation happened and they'd retract it. And none of us really felt like we were fully informed about what was going on. And none of us really felt like, can we trust this information that's coming? That is still continuing on, and it will. And it's going to get really bumpy over the next couple weeks. But what was cool in my observation was when Mercury went stationary direct, this was on March 9th, the same day we had the full moon in Virgo, okay? It was like a wake-up call. We all suddenly had clarity, and it was like, what's going on? What's interesting there is a full moon is about completion, and then Virgo represents work, health, service, data. So we got this great moment of clarity, this great wake-up, and if you look at it from there, like especially here in the United States, like we mobilize very quickly. So we got a wonderful reprieve, and hopefully, we had that wake-up in time and everything, to prevent a further spread here. This is really kind of hard to talk about, you all. I just want to say that. So the Mercury in Pisces retrograde made it difficult, but we're coming out of that. As we leave this shadow phase, as we go through this, there's still going to be more information. I'm going to give you some specifics about some things to watch out for just in this upcoming week when it comes to the data that's being shared that we have to keep an eye out for and be very objective about. So that was happening at the same time. The Uranus-Taurus cycle has already begun. The day it began, we had the volcanic explosion. It's going to represent land changes, food production, a focus on that, a look at material resources and what we really value. What was really interesting was there was some aspects with Uranus that were happening, And I think that's, as this crisis unfolded and I look back at this whirlwind couple of weeks, we've all had, that was really when I think if we hadn't started questioning what we truly value the most, we started to at that time. We got a big wake up call in that respect. So, what's awesome about this is that we're being asked to look at how we treat the land, to look at how we treat food production, the quality of our food, our own sustainability, and even though these are difficult times, it's beautiful to put a focus back on that. Taurus represents Earth. It's this wonderful Earth energy and the land, and there's a lot of beautiful energy there. So I think we're being asked to wake up to what we truly value and to really treat Earth like the gem she is. But there is a lot of unexpected changes. So there are things that are happening with the weather that you can look at historically, and they go to Uranus and Taurus. We're going to have a lot more unexpected weather events. So hopefully, know that and detach from that a little bit and everything. But that was something that was going on, and it's important because if you look down here, Venus has joined Uranus and Taurus. So there's still some unexpected things going on with love. And I think sometimes the unexpected is us realizing what we truly love the most and what we truly value. So that fits into it. But moving out, Venus in Aries is a more selfish energy, and Venus is so at home in Taurus. So that is the most wonderful thing at this time, I think, that we can all be really grateful for. The planet of love and beauty and art is home, and she's happy. And here we are, self-distancing in our respective homes. So that's a really beautiful energy for us to have at this time. I definitely want to say that one because that's important. So we covered about the Mercury retrograde in this. And then Chiron is in Aries. So Chiron is the wounded healer. And this is wonderful energy for us all to have at this time because one of the best qualities of Aries is the pioneering spirit. So this shows that, we're looking at new ways to heal old wounds, which is beautiful energy. And we're also getting into, personal health more and having our, own personal health and healing journeys. So it's putting a focus on that and everything like that. And, the more work we can do on ourselves, the better, we can help the collective as a whole. And I hope that at this time that we have this health crisis, that what this energy brings in is that pioneering spirit, like I was saying about the inventiveness of it all, bring it on home and just think of new ways to do stuff. So I really see us having a lot of innovation and luck when it comes to health. The other thing, the last thing I want to say about Venus and looking at Venus's role as this plays out, there's wonderful energy coming from Venus in the second house, which is very much a house about money, and material value. That I know it's a really hard time economically, but we have wonderful energy coming in from Venus at the beginning of 2021 that shows that the United States, this is just looking at, U.S. chart, that the U.S. will do everything possible for a full economic recovery. Now, whether that's successful or not to be determined, and it's up to all of us, we have that free will to make this work and everything. But the great part is we have Venus, the planet of love, and material resources, that's all that wonderful Taurus energy and everything coming in too as she's at home. So it's coming in at the second house, and it's bringing us all this energy to do our best to make a full economic recovery in early 2021. Wonderful news there. That's the good news. So I'm so happy to have some good news for everyone. Although it's a hard time and we're coming out of it and everything, there's some lessons here we're all being asked to learn as a group and as an individual. So we have to just really remain calm now and detach ourselves from that collective story, that control issue, top-down authority, governmental karma that's coming their way and everything, and just step back. If you are a highly sensitive person, more intuitive, if you struggle with social anxiety, be really mindful of the energy you allow in and around you at this time. Be really mindful and definitely take that moment to just go outside and remind yourself you're here, and the birds are singing and spring is coming, um, because there's a lot of crazy energy at this time and everything. And I don't want to add to that crazy energy at all. I'm actually here to say, like, this is a story that's unfolding and it's going to be okay. This is a wave that we're riding, you know. Here's best how to ride it. And with that, I want to get into what is coming up right now. And I want to kind of give you that weekly forecast and everything, because we've got some stuff coming up. So it's going to be, we've got a few waves coming our way, and I want to help you navigate that. I'm hoping I'm saying everything. Like I said, there's, don't know what to say. There's so much I want to say. So right now, Wednesday, big day. Friday, going to be a big day. Early next week, going to be big. So just hang in there, okay? Hang in there. So, the feeling of uneasiness that we have at this time is going to continue for a while. Instead of looking at the big picture globally, and what's going on and where are the answers and what's the data and everything like that, slow down, take a seat, look within, and take this time. The best use of this time, the best way to ride out this wave, okay? I'm gonna put this board down so I can fully go into mama bird mode here with you all and get you through this. The best thing to do at this time, okay, is to realize that there's still misinformation. There's still things we don't know, and they won't be revealed for a bit. And here we are practicing self-distancing, and the best advice I can give you at this time is to look within. Don't look out there. Don't expect all the answers to come from out there. They're not going to for a bit. Look within, and just take kind of note of the personal revelations that you're having at this time. Uranus and Taurus and the Venus and everything going on right there is asking you to look at what you truly value the most. What do you value? And to examine your material resources, where you're at now, where you need to be, and everything like that. And also just to give some love, to the earth itself, and to think about what you can do to bring beauty and calm to the earth at this time. This is a wonderful time to bring, beauty and nature into your own environment, your home environment, and to stop and think about what you've realized over the past couple weeks, and what you've realized through this whole Mercury retrograde cycle that we went through. So look back, at 2020 so far and everything like that. And what I said about March in my March Starcast was March. The whole Saturn and Pluto conjunction, this unfolding right now, this big boom, that we're dealing with right now. What's interesting about it is that how it's unfolding and everything like that, it's not quite done yet. It's hanging on to other parts, and there's going to be this rapid succession of things come out in a bit. So Mars is going to come in and oppose Pluto. And when this conjunction happens, we're going to get some information. There's going to be stuff that's coming out. But the hardest part of this next, week is to sit back and to surrender and accept that it doesn't all make sense right now, okay? So if you're searching for the answers online and you're following this Reddit thread and everything, nobody knows yet. Just sit tight and wait, because there's more to the story. There's more that's unfolding here and everything. A whole new story could come out next week. A whole new story could come out. The Saturn and Pluto conjunction is a paradigm shift, right? The Mercury in retrograde is asking us to go back, review, reevaluate. So on a personal level, it's important for you to just kind of take some stock at this time, and to understand that on a collective level, some things are still unfolding. The story is still being written. So just sit tight. Don't get caught up in all that for a little bit, because it's not even out there yet. Give it a while. Sunday is when it's going to be the hardest for you to just sit back and surrender. But that's when you really need to, okay? It's the true test of being able to detach yourself a little bit and stay calm. So I'm going to give Sunday as a date, but Also, what's going to happen this weekend is Saturn is getting, let's go back to the chart for just a second here, okay? Saturn is getting kicked out of the worst party ever, going into Aquarius, okay? That is going to feel real weird for a bit. It's going to be like that awkward moment at the party, okay? That's when you just need to sit down, sip your tea. Let it all play out. And look around you. The birds are still chirping. Your loved ones are okay. You know, you're here. Just give it a minute. It's going to get bumpy. It's going to be these crazy waves. You don't have to surf on them. You don't have to tune in. You know what I mean? So just know that that's coming up and everything, and prepare yourself. I would definitely say the dates to watch are Friday, Sunday, early next week, and I'm definitely keeping a personal eye on March 31st. I think March 31st is a day to absolutely lay low, you know, stay off the internet and everything. There's some weird energy that day, and I just want to check my notes really quick to make sure I have everything here. Yeah, March, in like a lamb, out like a lion. So it's hard for me to tell you this and everything like that, but how this looks astrologically it's about to be far choppier waves. Like, you just think about what we've been through for the last 2 weeks. Deep cleansing breath, okay? It's going to be a few choppy weeks. It's going to be a little wild for a while, and we're going to be in choppy waters until we get a little bit into April, okay? But the good news there is, I think that the Aries season is really going to help us out, because again, the best of qualities of Aries is that pioneering spirit. You know what I mean? So the other great news is we also have within this next week, we have this great energy coming in from Aquarius that suggests innovation and work. And so many of us right now are dealing with a shift, especially, you know, our friends in the service industry and everything. They're shifting over. How can we make this work? And people are already coming up with really innovative ideas about how to shift their income over. And we're having more energy come in. So we'll have more ideas. We'll have more innovation. And it's really great, because that's like the make it work energy. And Aquarius is so much about the community, the hive, you know, and everything. So it's not this like selfish energy that we have right now. We actually have energy where we're thinking about one another, which is so important. And it's one of the great things I can say at this time. And I've witnessed it personally myself. You know, it wasn't me first, gimme. It was like, oh, you know, when I asked people, how are you doing? They would say, I'm okay, but I'm worried about my brother. I'm worried about my grandson. You know, things like that. Like, we're not just being selfish jerks right now. And if we keep bringing that energy, we stand a much better chance of like full recovery here. Okay. So that is great, because we have that supporting us. The next couple weeks will be a rough ride. There will be more disclosures. We're going to be dealing with more tech issues. And as we come out of this full Mercury retrograde cycle and out of the shadow period, and then we have these different aspects coming in, we're still under that Pisces influence. So as we go into Aries season, it's good news, because the Mercury in Pisces and then the Neptune in Pisces, what this basically created was foggy waters. You know, it felt like we were living and walking through fog machines there for a bit, and we were still like trickling out of that energy at this time. It's also, like I said, miscommunication, misinformation, illusion, and also deceit, you know. And there's a lot of dark, you know, kind of under the current energy that's involved there. So when we go into Aries season, it's like the sun come out, spring is here, you know, and like the light is being shined on any darkness that still exists. So as we go from the Pisces season into the Aries season, there's a shift there, you know, and that's just coming in. But as that's coming in, we have Saturn getting kicked out of the party. So it's kind of weird for a while. But then as we go into this, you know, it's going to be okay. But the spring equinox is going to feel quite strange this year. It's going to feel quite strange this year. And we will have this sense of unease and everything. So, um, the other thing that's going to happen over these next 2 weeks, I'm just checking my final notes here and everything. The next thing that's going to happen over a few weeks is Mars is going to pull the curtain down on top-down authority. So, without getting specific or too political here, I'm just going to give another analogy and everything like that. It's like, I use the analogy of the big bad wolf, when I was talking about the whole Capricorn influence in stellium and Saturn, because it was basically like that with the Uranus Taurus energy was like how strong is your house? How strong is your foundation? And I use the analogy of the big bad wolf being like Saturn and that Capricorn energy, and it was like the three little pigs. Is your house made of straw, or is your house made of bricks? So, on an individual level, we're being asked to look at that, and the how stable our life is and what resources we really value and everything. But on a collective level, systems that are not made of bricks, are going to get blown down by the big bad wolf. But to give you another analogy using the big bad wolf, what is a strong probability to occur when Mars comes in over this next week is the curtain gets pulled down and you find out who the big bad wolf really is. And that's going to be interesting. So again, stay calm and detach from that. It's highly likely that revelations will be revealed, that deceit will be revealed, and we have Mercury, the messenger, mixing with Uranus, the unexpected, that wild card. So we're going to get an unexpected message at this time, and we really need to detach from that and realize what is personal, what is collective, and what karma has to just be played out here. So there's more to come with that. It is going to be a bumpy ride, and then with the overall energy, the last thing I want to say is use just a quick few analogies here. This shift that's happening, it's a paradigm shift. Consider that over the next few weeks, and as this all rolls out and unfolds, that you kind of find out we've been living in an upside down world. Okay, so brace yourselves for that. Calm yourself, ground yourselves, and you think nothing's shocking at this time. Be prepared for shocking revelations to come out, and to get a better view of this paradigm shift that we're experiencing. And to put this in a cosmic perspective is we have so many shifts happening. Jupiter changed our luck, our alignment, our thinking, our education by going through 12-year cycles, like a 12-year cycle change for us. So that's the first quarter here. That was all of us. But that's a collective one, And then we're shifting from earth energy to air energy. So it's like Capricorn energy to Aquarius air energy. So that's an elemental shift that we're having, okay? Then we have Saturn making this 35-year, change with Pluto and everything. Huge shift that's happening. When Uranus went into Taurus, that's a shift. I mean, it's been happening for a while, but we just keep feeling it. It keeps going and everything like that. And we also have this Saturn going from its traditional ruler, Capricorn, from its modern ruler. Saturn's modern ruler would be like Capricorn tide. And in a traditional viewpoint of astrology, Aquarius was under Saturn. So we're going from that. So these are huge shifts that are kind of taking place. And the best news of this all is that this is a time when we need our gut, we need our intuition, we need innovation and resourcefulness. The coolest part to me really is Capricorn is I build, I work. Aquarius is I know. How do they know? They don't know. They just know, and that's intuition. Okay? So what I've advised everybody is stay calm, but also really, really listen to your intuition at this time. And know that there is wonderful energy out in the cosmos. Even though a karmic blowback is happening on a lot of levels, it's going to happen. We can't control that. But what we can control is how we react. You know what I mean? Um, you can't control others' actions, you can only control your own reaction. So, our reaction at this time is highly important, and it's wonderful to know that we have innovation in work, a reminder of what we value and what our resources are, and then this illumination on what the information we really need to know and like where we really stand. And that will be coming out. So it's going to be a bumpy ride, but it's always nice to have the full story. And one of my favorite sayings by Buddha is there's only two things that can't, stay in the dark too long, and that is the sun and the truth. So I feel like the sun will be coming out with Aries season. It's the beginning of the zodiac. Spring is still happening as we're like staying inside our respective homes and spaces and everything like that. So as we leave Pisces, that's the death. That's the end of the zodiac. That's like this final part, and go into Aries. We're going to go into Aries with like a big bang again. It's going to be some choppy waters and everything like that. But there's wonderful energy that's coming into us there. And so much of this, we have to distance ourselves from that and just really focus on our personal life and what lessons we're being asked to examine, to grow from, to be challenged with at this time. These are challenging times, but the best thing we can really do is to stay calm and take care of each other and to choose love over chaos.